can't wait. I mean, look, Eubank's playing a blinder for the promotion of the fight. I mean, a little bit annoying. I mean, unfortunately, if I could fight, I'd want to give him a slap myself, but that's not going to happen. So, Conor's fired up. I mean, honestly, I've never seen someone put themselves through what he is putting himself through in training camp. He is going to be like a caged animal when that bell goes on April 26th. A big disadvantage in size, but he makes up for it in attribute, hunger, youth, tenacity, volatility, and he is in camp with his dad, grafting and dreaming every day of violating Chris Eubank Jr. on April 26th and doing it in spectacular fashion. And
many boxing experts think the fight isn't fair because the two fighters are very different in weight classes. The main worry is that Benn will have to move up 2 weight classes to fight Eubank Jr., who has spent most of his career fighting at a higher weight class. This big jump makes people wonder if Benn will be able to handle the physical challenges and power of super middleweight boxing. Most people agree that size and weight benefits are often very important in deciding the winner of a fight, which could tip the scales in Eubank Jr.'s favor.
This match, it's an entertaining matchup.
Why is it a mismatch?
Because of ability, because of weight classes. Chris Jr. is a middleweight and a super middleweight. He's naturally a super middleweight. So, he's having to starve himself to come down and, with all the catch weights and all of this stuff, it's a mismatch.
Okay.
He is operated at world level. He's been in with the likes of George Groves and, the list goes on. It's a mismatch in ability.
A well-known and respected boxing analyst named Spencer Finn talks about the long past between the Eubank and Benn families. He says that the rivalry that started with their legendary fights with their fathers makes the future fight fear more interesting. He also says that this passing down of the rivalry from generation to generation has caught people's attention, making it a very talked-about fight. The historical background not only makes the story more interesting, but it also puts more pressure on both fighters to protect their family names.
And the hatred that he has, and I know when you really dislike someone, it brings something out of you. But, I'm looking forward to that fight. For the simple fact is, like, that event within itself is fantastic because it's crossed over. Lots of people are talking about it. Everywhere you go, people are talking about it. There is nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely excellent. And plus, I can remember when the two fathers first fought, and the second time is when they fought in October of of '93. But when the fathers first fought, when they first went at it, I remember that fight clearly in my head. It was a Sunday night. It was at November 18th, 1990, and it was like, it seemed like the world stopped to watch that fight. And this has drawn something from it because everybody's talking about it. And fair play to both men. They're selling the fight really well, which is genuine. It's not orchestrated. Oh, you're going to do this. No, it's proper. So I'm looking forward to that fight. May the better man win.
Yeah, for sure.
The historical background not only makes the story more interesting, but it also puts more pressure on both fighters to protect their family names. Conor Benn has freely expressed the weight of the legacy left by his father Nigel Benn regarding the Eubank rivalry. He humorously questioned why his father left him to deal with the ongoing feud, highlighting the personal and emotional aspects of the matchup. This candid acknowledgement underscores the unique challenges Benn faces balancing personal history with professional goals.
Only right that I do justice for the second fight. It was a draw that he should have won. Ultimately, I'm just, Dad, why have you left your dirty laundry to me, mate? Why have I got to close the show for you? Why have I got to handle your dirty business? I've got to do this for my dad, because he couldn't do it himself.
Brave man, Conor. Brave man.
Darren Barker, a former middleweight champion, emphasizes the critical role of the jab in this fight. He claims that Conor Benn possesses a better jab, which could be a decisive factor in the fight. Barker points out that Benn's natural aggression combined with an effective jab could disrupt Eubank Jr. anti-says as rhythm and strategy. this technical. Insight suggests that despite the size disadvantage, Benn's skill set could offer significant challenges for Eubank Jr.
So yes, attacks to the body going to be paramount. I think the jab, crucial. I think out of the two, Conor has the better jab. At times, Eubank Jr.'s jab's been non-existent. We see him starting to use his jab a little bit more under his short time with Roy Jones, but it's a shot that he neglects. So yeah, I think variation, certainly from Conor Benn, is going to be much needed on April 26th.
Obviously, we've seen quite a fiery build-up between the pair. Do you feel like Junior's trying to play up to that, trying to get beneath the skin of Conor Benn and hoping that he just disrupts him and his mentality going through his camp and ultimately leading up to fight night?
Yeah, I think so. That's maturity and experience. That's how. But Conor's naturally fiery. Conor has that bit between his teeth. You know, he's his dad's son. His dad was as fiery as they come, and so was Conor. I think if Chris Eubank Jr. was placid and respectful, I think Conor would still be fiery. But yeah, he's. I would have thought he's won quite a lot of people over Chris Eubank Jr. Although him and his dad have always been Marmite, you either love him or you hate him. I think where he's been so outspoken and he said things a lot of people probably wouldn't have. People have sort of warmed to him, but you know, there's always a goodie and a villain in a lot of these grudge matches. But this one seems to have really a split opinion. You know, they've
Renowned trainer Roy Jones Jr. has worked closely with Chris Eubank Jr. and attests to his major improvements. Jones emphasizes that Eubank Jr.'s enhanced skills, coupled with his natural size and strength, could present serious problems for Benn. He suggests that if Benn's punches fail to make a substantial effect, Eubank Jr. could dominate the fight, leveraging his physical advantages and refined techniques.
How do you see that one going?
Very tough fight for Conor. Not saying he can't win it because one big left hook could change anything. But to me, his best chance are to try to land a big shot. If that don't happen, or if he lands it and it don't hurt Chris, then it's going to be pretty rough for him because Chris is definitely an improved fighter. You understand me? And like, even the stuff he's doing now, he's going to continue to get better. But I think when he came down there with me for that year, it improved his foundation. You understand me? So it made him a better fighter. So he's going to be hard to beat for anybody, especially a guy that's smaller than him. But we saw Liam Smith pull out the upset that one time. So I know that gave Ben much more hope that he could probably do the same. So it's going to be a great fight. Both fighters are great fighters. I love both of them. I think Chris is a little bigger and has the advantages because he's bigger, but it's going to be a great fight.
You know what, a lot of people are talking about it, Roy, you know about cutting weight and whatnot. A lot of people are talking about Chris Eubank Jr. now being at 160 and maybe being tight at that weight now, but the rehydration clause, £10, I'm saying, listen, with a £10 rehydration clause in it, that won't affect him at all.
That won't affect him at all, but...
Former super middleweight champion Carl Froch has expressed lukewarm excitement about the matchup. He points out that Eubank Jr. are infrequent fighting schedule and Benn's relatively unproven record at higher weight classes lessen the fight's excitement. Froch's comments represent a segment of the boxing community that questions the competitive legitimacy and entertainment value of the bout.